typing up stuff and I decided that my eyes were hurting from the computer, and I think you're a visual person, so I think this will be a little bit more beneficial if I kind of run through some morning yoga poses for you. And this is going to be mainly focused on shoulders because you're super bendy and stretchy in your hips and your hamstrings, and then a little bit of core work. And so it might be about 10 or 12 minutes depending on how it goes. We went over all this stuff last time I was with you, so hopefully it'll just be review. And then I'm going to type out just an outline of just reference points of alignment, so you can refer to that too. So we'll start at the wall, and you're gonna, I have no wall space, so I just use a door. I like to fill the space. So you're going to take your hand to the wall, door, and make sure that your wrist is higher or as high as the top of your arm bone. Pressing your hand firmly into the wall, you're going to do the 3 principles of shoulder loop. The first one is lengthening the side of your body, which physically, instead of this is a sort of what not to do. And what you would like to do is lift your arm bone up, lengthening the ribs, and then moving your arm bone physically back in space. So my arm bone is literally moving to the back plane of my body, and I'll give you a side view of that. The arm bone lifts, and then it moves to the back of the body. So as you do 1, lifting, 2, moving back, you're going to keep those first 2 principles, and then as you're walking the lower half of your body towards the center of the room, then you bring the shoulder blade down the back. So what that looks like is the shoulder blade moves down the back. And then you'll do that to your, hopefully, second arm that you have. And then once your shoulders are nice and warm, you're going to take a variation of Tadasana mountain pose. So again, firmly rooting your foundation, which we always start with, just feeling that your feet are even, pressing into the earth, rolling to the balls of the feet, and then to the heels of the feet, and then from side to side. And then just trying to equalize that distribution of weight. Equalize, is that a word? Clasping your hands, and then lifting your arms up. So mountain pose, you can think of a mountain as being really strong and stable. And then when your hands are clasped like this, you're not just interlocking the bones and having the bones sort of moving through space. You're really engaged. And how you do that is by pulling your fingers energetically away from each other. Though they're still locked in this mudra, you're pulling away actively, and then you're engaging the principles of shoulder loop, which is again lifting the arm bones up, moving the arm bones back, and then moving the shoulder blades down the back. And then as all of these muscles are firing up, because I'm pulling my hands away, I'm deepening the pose by lifting my hands over my head. But as soon as my arm bones start to pop forward and my ribs start to pop forward, I know that I'm losing the integrity of the pose, so I'm just going to back off, move my ribs back, and then only move as much as I can keep the alignment of the pose, which may be here, and that might kind of like poop you out, but you will feel very warmed up in your shoulders. So now another shoulder option that you can do is Garudasana, Garuda arms. So taking your hands forward, And then crossing your left arm over, your right arm under, bending your elbows. And then this might be it, or you might wish to clasp your hands. And then remember, your mantra is the arm bones move back. And it's going to be difficult to do that because what is sort of embedded in the pose is this lever action of your arms moving forward, which will want to pull your arm bones back. But so you really have to work a little bit more than usual to keep your arm bones back. And then if you feel like you want spice in your life, you could also add another squat here, or you could just stand up. And then you'll switch right arm over, left arm under. And it might be different. So maybe on one side you could clasp hands, and maybe on the other side it feels a little funky. So just check in, and then you'll work this for about 4 breaths. Arm bones back, belly in, lifting your elbows up, and then looking straight ahead, maybe slightly up. And now we're going to go into the half sun salutation. So fun. Half of a sun salute. So Surya Namaskar. You'll raise your arms as high as is comfortable, and then as you exhale, you'll touch down to the earth. Again, you always want to check that your feet are on the same plane. You want your feet to be sitting bone distance apart, which is 2 fists away from each other. And then when you're bent forward here, you still want to bring attention to your shoulders. So I'm not just trying to reach the ground. I'm just using the ground for a little bit of support, and then your heart actually moves towards the earth. So from the back of the heart, you're moving towards the earth, which also brings the shoulder blades back. And then inhale halfway up, lengthening the spine. The thighs move back, the heart moves forward. Exhale, folding in. And then still working the shoulders. Inhale halfway up, lengthen. Thighs back, heart forward. Exhale, folding in. So that you don't overstretch your hamstrings, you want to be sure that your sitting bones, which are located deep inside the glutes, that they're actually energetically moving down towards the earth. And then simultaneously you're pulling like stockings all the muscles in the front of your legs up into the pelvis, and then sitting bones to heels moves down. So that there's this current of energy that acts as a wheel in the lower half of the body. You'll do that about 4 times, this halfway up and then folding in. And then crawling either your hands forward or your feet back into downward facing dog. And then in downward facing dog, really being mindful that your hands are super engaged, especially the inner edges of the hands. All 10 fingertips pressing down into the earth. Shoulders move to the back plane of the body. Heart always moves forward. Thighs always move back. And then exhale, bringing your knees to the floor, wider than the shoulders, head to the floor for Balasana, Child's Pose. And then inhale, coming to hands and knees. And then this is kind of a tricky thing, so move into it however you can that is going to be safe to you. But one recommendation that I have that does require a little bit of fire in the belly is moving your chest down, your belly in, your chest down, your chest goes first, keep looking forward, chest goes first, all the way to the floor. And then bringing your elbows underneath your shoulders, forearms parallel to each other. Inner edges of the hands pressing down, Sphinx pose, looking straight ahead. Tops of the feet press down, shoulders move down the back. And then what's really important is this pose is you're not just collapsing in the lower back. So this kidney area stays nice and inflated. I'm pulling my belly in and sending my kidneys back as the heart moves forward. And then coming down to the earth, hands to the sides of the chest, toes curl under. And what you're going to do is just bring your attention to your shoulders right away, because this is a transition and that's when we lose sight of the alignment. So in the transition, shoulders still stay back, and then hands and knees, and then downward facing dog. So instead of this wiggling and then this, you just bring your attention a lot to the shoulders. They stay back the entire time. And you'll have fun with that. And next on the list, my cheat sheet, we did extended cat pose, which is fun. So you'll do that 3 times. And then you'll eventually come back to hands and knees. So your hands are underneath your shoulders, more than your wrists are underneath your shoulders. And the general rule of thumb is that the center of your palms lines up with the outer deltoid muscle. So your hands definitely don't want to be too close together. Far apart is better than too far is better than too close together. So that way you get an opening in the shoulder. If your shoulders are feeling particularly tight, you want to move your index fingers forward so that they're pointed forward so that they look like the number 11. And then again here, even on hands and knees, you're sliding your arm bones forward, again, which lengthens the sides of the ribs. And then pressing the heart down towards the floor. And then lifting one leg back behind you, again, depending on the energy level in the morning, you may just wish to bring the ball of the foot down and use this as a hamstring stretch, or you could use it as a core exercise by lifting the leg up. And then even look like 4 feet past your mat so that the neck stays long, the heart softens, the belly draws in. And just be sure that your hip is not flayed out, because that really messes with your sacrum. And then if you really want a little bit of a challenge, you can come to the fingertips of the right hand or extend the right bicep beside the ear. And then you'll feel like you're tortured a little bit there, and then you'll come to the other side. So maybe it's just a hamstring stretch. And think about moving the inner thigh up and the outer hip down so that you get a lot of space in your low back. And then instead of just lifting the leg up and letting the belly collapse, plug the leg in, pull the belly in, heart softens. Maybe you're taking a spicy version. And then I kind of always lose integrity here because I just get so tired, but you've got to hug into an imaginary midline. So right now, the palm of my left hand is pressing into an imaginary wall, and the inside of my right foot is also hugging into an imaginary midline. At the same time, I'm also extending out. That was a lot of talking. So come into child's pose.